Hello, welcome back to RamsTalk. Good to see you again, everyone. Adam, Vic, and Callum joining me tonight to discuss the Cambridge United game yesterday. A 0-0 draw, but there's lots to talk about, so we will be discussing that, and also looking forward to two games in a week against Blackpool and Cheltenham on the road. First up, Adam, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right, Jamie. Not too bad. Like you usually say, would have been better if we won. But there we go. Got a point at least. So there we go.
Very true. Very true. Vic sporting the new home shirt. How you doing, mate? Suits you?
Thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Like Adam said, could have been better with the 3 points, but I guess the draw is better than nothing.
Exactly. And lastly, but by no means least, Callum Boocock down in the right-hand corner. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. By the sounds of it, I'm pretty glad I didn't go. Seems like a very boring game to be at.
Yeah, I mean, 0-0s are never fantastic, are they? I mean, you come away from the game feeling pretty unfulfilled, to be honest. You expect to see some goal. I think we got unlucky in all honesty. And I guess just to start, Adam, we approached the game with Barkhuizen coming in for Sibley. And it was quite clear that we were going to try and exploit them in wide areas with pace, with Mendez-Laing and Barkhuizen. Did you foresee that was going to be the tactic that we were going to use? And how do you think we deployed that?
Thought we probably would have kept Sibley in after his performance at Carlisle personally, but then Barkhuizen, I think, is a good attacking player. So I don't really mind the swap there. But then when it came to playing it out wide, I think it just got so repetitive yesterday on Saturday. We'd come out wide. It was 50-50 whether we'd beat the man, in my opinion. But then when we did, we just couldn't get anybody on the end of it. We just couldn't get the perfect ball into the box, which is just shame to see. We look so one-dimensional when going out wide. If Mendez-Laing doesn't beat the man, we kind of look a bit lost for ideas, and then have to play it backwards, play it around a bit. But no, I mean, we went out wide. Did it work for me? Personally, no. I think we could have maybe been a bit more adventurous. I think that's how I've described it.
Yeah, definitely. I lost you there for a period, Adam, because I lost my internet, I think. But hopefully, I'm back now. But I can guess at what you said potentially. Vic, I guess looking at the game and discussing kind of the key chances, it feels that we come away, and Warren was obviously positive with his comments and said how well they played. Do you think on the whole, if we'd have scored a couple of them opportunities, that we actually come away and think, actually, we played quite well?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at hindsight, I think, to be fair, first half I thought we were pretty good. I don't think we were bad at all. Had the most chances, dominated play. Second half, I think we sort of went back into our shell. I thought we sat back a bit too much for my liking, and it just invited Cambridge onto us. Like you said, if we'd have scored a couple of goals early on, like Mendes' chance after the first minute or two, put that in the back of the net, it's a different story. We would have had 3 points, everybody would have been more happier. But I guess with hindsight, if I'm being honest, I don't think the performance was that bad yesterday. It's probably one of the better performances that we've literally had this year. I think sometimes with the fans, I think we just expected a bit too much. Yeah, we could have scored a couple of goals, but I mean, talk about improvements. The improvement was there yesterday. It's just we just in the final third we just lack any sort of cutting edge, and I think that's the thing that's killing us at the minute, especially at home.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird to think that we've got it on the road, but then at Pride Park we can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net or kind of emulate those performances. I mean, Callum, why do you think that is? I think we've talked about it on previous pods. We've talked about it in the group chat. What's that blocker at home at the moment?
Expectation, maybe, as Vic was alluding to. You're expected to dominate the ball, have the majority of the share at home, and the Warren style of play maybe just doesn't suit that. You don't maybe want to see a lot of the ball. You want to catch teams on the counter. And if you're playing up against a team like Cambridge or Cheltenham that's coming up, who are going to give you a lot of the ball, that might be where we fall short. It might be also that when you look at just, again, stupid little things, pitch dimensions, how wide the pitches, you would think that with the ball getting out wide and the way Paul Warne likes to play, that should fall into our hands. But I mean, when you go to these little pitches across the league, the long diagonal, the direct style of play suits because of how small the pitch is and how deep the team and opposition go, because of how our pitch and how our stadium is set. It probably just plays against us a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got to try and find, the recipe to win games at home, because if we can't win games at home, then we're not going to be able to kind of mount that promotion push, I guess. And I think that needs to change. Obviously, we've got a little while until we play at home now with kind of fixtures. So hopefully we can sort out that. Just looking at comments on YouTube. So Jim Johnston's got in contact. He's put, "Hi guys, great until the final third with no killer pass through ball. Strange subs too, as I've taken Waggy off for Sibbs and Mendes Lang for Wilson. PSR backline is looking good." Adam, I agree with everything Jim Johnston says there. And just to, I guess, touch upon the defence, I think yesterday it was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I can only remember Cambridge having one opportunity, and that was a shot from about 30 yards out that didn't really threaten, in my opinion. So I think defensively, we looked really solid yesterday. Probably the best defensive performance we've put in so far this season, in my opinion. Niambe looks a quality player for me. His calmness on the ball at times is definitely what we need at the back. Because I think when the game kicked off, it was a little bit end to end. I thought Cambridge put the ball on the floor and tried to pass it around us, and at times Niambe's coolness on the ball was really key in just relieving us of some pressure and taking the sting out of Cambridge coming forward. So I think defensively it was probably the best one of the season so far. I don't know if anybody can point out a better one for me, but I didn't think we looked threatened at all yesterday.
Yeah, and I feel we've settled on that back four, haven't we? And yeah, I guess to echo what you said there, Niambe's come straight in, and sometimes with new players, they take a little bit of time to get up to speed, to learn the ropes and to learn how everyone plays. But I think he's been fantastic. And I guess it's looking at the free agency market and thinking, could we again dip in there and get something else? Probably not. I think actually when we have all the players come back from injury, we're definitely one of the best squads in this league, in my opinion. But he is a good kind of advocate for that particular market. I know we talked about it last week as well. Well, Jake talked about it last week, Vic, with regards to Curtis Nelson. He just seems to be growing and growing with every game. And for me, he's the first name on the team sheet. I don't know what you think.
Oh, 100%. I think he's probably been our best standout performer so far this season. He had a bit of a shaky start in the first game, but after that, he's made that shirt his. He looks calm, reassured. He's a no-nonsense centre-back. He's going to put his head on everything. He's going to blast that ball into Rosehead if we need to. And he's actually got a quick turn of pace as well, which is nice to see in the centre-back. So, I mean, there was one point in, I think it might have been the second half, where Nelson literally ran through the midfield all the way to the end of the box. And you reminded me of like Keogh back in the day when he would just go on these like suicide runs. But yeah, no, for me, Curtis Nelson's been probably the surprise standout performer for us this year. But as I always say, with anything good at Derby, long may that continue.
Hey,
you had to get it in there, didn't you, Vic? Surprised it's taking you 9 minutes, in all honesty, mate.
No.
I think hindsight, and we started at the top of the show saying about 0-0, and it's frustrating coming away, and potentially when you tweeted out yesterday, Callum, with one word to sum up the game, I went back with boring, and probably that was a little bit of frustration, because today, looking at the chances that we had, we did create some good opportunities starting in the first minute, like Adam said, with that Mendes Lang opportunity where the ball just seemed to kind of skip up over the player. And you should be backing Mendez-Laing with his pace to run on and put the ball in the back of the net. He obviously takes a strange touch, and then I think also the touch to Barkhuizen is poor for him to get the shot in on the angle, which was quite a poor shot. I think the keeper actually made a bit of a hash of that, in all honesty. Why do you think we're not taking these chances at home? I know it's probably echoing the question of why we can't kind of win, but it just feels that at Pride Park, the ball's not going in the back of the net, whereas away from home, those opportunities seemingly go in the back of the net. I just can't work it out.
Yeah. When you look at it, you need to put balls on target. I mean, when you look at the stats, we had 12 shots, I think only 2 on target all game. You ain't going to, especially at home, you're not going to threaten any sort of promotion chase with those sort of stats per game. We need to get that shots on target higher. And we might be creating half chances. And the one that you alluded to there, the one in the first minute, it turned from a pretty key chance to a half chance because of the ball getting stuck under his feet. And by the time he got it off to Barkhuizen, it was kind of a snapshot. When you're running through on goal with your 2 quickest players, you should be then really having a much firmer chance on goal. And I think that's just across the board where we're really snatching at shots. We're kind of putting loads of crosses across the face of the goal. No one's getting in on them. And the amount of the stats of crosses and attempted crosses is probably where we need to have the shots and attempted shots on target. And that's probably where we're at. We're getting in there, but we're just not putting it in the back of the net.
Yeah, exactly. I think our striking and scoring prowess at the moment is about as good as my Wi-Fi, because I'm really have to listen to what you say because you're jumping. And apologies if I'm not making sense or coming in at the wrong point, because my Wi-Fi at the moment is pretty terrible. So apologies about that. Adam, I guess the biggest chance we had and an absolute sitter was Waghorn's header in the second half. A great ball in from Mendez-Laing, and to be honest with you, I think us 4 would have put it in the back of the net. It seemed easier to hit the back of the net than anything else. Waggy's a strange one because he had that performance away at Peterborough, and you'd think that he'd kick on, but he's just seemed to, I guess, go backwards over the last couple of weeks. What do you put that down to?
I think as a team we've slightly gone backwards in terms of attacking. I think that Peterborough game, obviously Waghorn was absolutely immense, but then there was a lot of other players that played really well. I think, like I said at the start, we were more adventurous at Peterborough away. Waghorn's goals were completely different from each other. And now I think it seems to be that we're just crossing the ball and hoping one of the strikers in either Waghorn or Collins is on the end of it. And, Waghorn's got many different variations to his game now as a more experienced pro. It's not just getting on the end of crosses. So, I think at Carlisle, he was a little bit more adventurous with his shot taking, although it didn't come off and he might not have his best game. I think he had a little bit more confidence there. And I just don't think he had the opportunities yesterday to try some shots from distance or try something different. I think obviously using the width meant that he would have had to have a first time finish, like the header, straight into the ground. I always say I'm not a professional footballer, but I agree with you, Jamie. I probably might have put that in myself. But no, it was a strange one. But I don't think I'm put it down to Waghorn going backwards as a sort of player. I think as a team, I just don't think we're as free flowing as we were when I think we set the benchmark against Peterborough. I think we've slowly gone backwards since then. Personally,
I think though, just to add to that, what Adam just said, I think if we look at how teams set up at Pride Park compared to how we can play away, so we'll set up the same way regardless. But we know when teams come to Pride Park, they're more than likely going to come for the point, maybe try and snatch all 3 on the counter, which is making it more frustrating for us to try and break through the lines. If we're playing that same way away from home, the onus is on the home team to come at us so we can play our free-flowing football. I think that's the difference that we're finding with playing away and at home. 3 out of 4 away from home, 1 win at home. I think it's because of the way teams are setting up against us as well.
I think we snatch at chances too, to add to that, away from home, which just in turn means we score more goals. I think at home we're more obsessed with this sort of nice passing football when coming forward on the counter, and the goal has to be almost perfect. But away from home, I think we snatch at chances more, which means we end up with more goals personally.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess to echo what you say there, Vic, it was Cambridge's plan to come and play for a point, and if they could nick something, they'd nick something. But you saw the celebrations at the end from the players, from the manager, from the team. They were more than happy with that point. And I agree. I think teams just come here, sit in, try and frustrate us. I mean, the back two for them, their two centre backs, I think combined age of probably about 70, to be quite honest. And we didn't do anything. We didn't turn them. We didn't make them think. I mean, seen on Twitter that, or X or whatever you call it nowadays, that James Collins, what did James Collins do yesterday? But to be honest with you, we didn't really have a chance to do anything. So I think it's one of them where we have to kind of understand how to beat different teams at home, and break down those kind of barriers that teams put up against us. I think one of the things that I was thinking about yesterday, and I don't know what you think about this, Callum, but I just felt with Forner and Smith, we were a little bit too similar in there. I think Smith tried to play. However, I think you can just have one person doing that in there. For me, if Max Bird's fit enough for the bench, is he fit enough to start? I don't know. But what did you think about the two centre mids?
I think when you look at Smith and Forner, we were talking about it just before we went live. They do pretty much the exact same role in terms of, Forner's just a fitter, more agile and younger version of Corey Smith in terms of the way he plays. We needed that person yesterday, and Conor Hourihane and Bird are more like those sort of centre mids who can thread a through ball, do something that can unlock a defence that's just sitting behind the ball. And when you look at Bird, really, when he got the best of his time at the start of the season, it was more in that advanced role. And that's where at the moment where Waggy's kind of been that 10. So if you're going to do a 4-2-3-1 and trying to do it like an advanced 8, then Bird will be that, and you'd have maybe Forner and Hourihane or Forner and Smith around him to pick up the balls and give it to him. We really lacked that cutting edge, and I think that the two of them yesterday, as good as they were getting the ball back and passing it and just getting it out wide, we had then no threat going down the middle, in my opinion, other than a couple of snapshots. I think Forner had a snapshot from the edge of the box that nearly went in, but other than that, it was mainly get the ball, win the ball back, get it out wide as quick as you can, and as Adam says, put shot crosses in and hope someone gets on the end of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I definitely agree, Callum. Just going to go to YouTube for a couple of comments. DCFC James, give me a shout out. He then went on to say, please. So we have to give him a shout out. He said, please. So shout out to DCFC James. We've also got Jake Barker. His voice isn't working tonight, but his thumbs are. Do we think the confidence of the front players has taken a hit when they get so few chances? We rushed every shot yesterday. It felt bizarre. Yeah, I guess whenever we seemed to get in the final third, everything was overhit. It didn't have enough power on it. It wasn't kind of placed in corners or, so I tend to agree with Jake for one rare occasion there. We've got the Talking Gas podcast as well. Yay. Welcome, lads. Evening, lads. So shout out to the Talking Gas podcast. They'll be happy that they've signed Chris Martin, but we won't get on to that subject tonight. And Jake also said, is that Stitch on Vic's bed? Probably, yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Draft's out, Stitch is in.
Oh, Draft's here as well. He's here somewhere. There he is.
Hey.
Adam, set pieces yesterday. We talked about it before we came on air, and you were quite animated about your opinion on set pieces yesterday. So I'll let you just take off air, on air, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, we were terrible at them. We were terrible at the set pieces. I don't think that's an overstatement. I think we're putting in cut. I think that the main point for me was when we clearly were about to do a set piece routine where all the players stood outside the box ready to run in, and then we whip in a corner at the front post, which just blew my mind because no one was in the box for it. and it just got headed away. Then we had a free kick on the edge of the area, and it just hit the first man in the wall after we'd done all this setting up for it. And it was annoying, but obviously, like you said, does Conor Hourihane come in? We need his dead ball special, basically. I know we don't often score from corners or free kicks, something like that, but it's just that added edge. Adds a little bit more unpredictability when from the corner a ball might come in and it might drop somewhere. And I think definitely if we're looking to score more goals, which we need that added edge to our game. We can't be wasting these opportunities because in my opinion, we're creating so few and far between clear-cut chances in the match. Just need that little extra edge. And yesterday's set pieces were really poor from Derby, unfortunately. But the only way is up, really. So that's a positive, I guess.
Yeah, and I think Warren obviously said after, and I watched the debrief with Sean Barker, and he kind of said, I think both of them said that games like yesterday, it is sometimes a set piece that wins you the game, and then that's 3 points. And yeah, I mean, some of the set pieces, if you're a professional footballer and can't beat the first man, I mean, fair enough. If someone's meant to make a run and they don't make the run, then fair enough. But it just felt yesterday that every single ball into the box, bar maybe the one that Mendes Lang kind of picked out for the Waghorn chance, they were just over hit, under hit, and just not on the money. And as you say there, Adam, we've got the captain coming back, and that's what he's got in his locker. So it's an interesting one. And I guess, Vic, to come to you, with Max Bird and Conor Hourihane both coming back seemingly over the course of the next week or so, what is that three going to be if we play that kind of formation, or what's the midfield going to look like in your mind?
Well, I think it'd be harsh to take Forner out because I thought he was pretty decent yesterday, probably the best of the three midfielders. With Bird, you've got that energy, and I think Paul has alluded to try and playing him maybe more further forward, so maybe we could see him in a more advanced midfield role. Conor, he's got the dead ball specialist. He's got a good free kick in a corner on him. The legs might not be there, and I think was it Smith? I'd probably take Smith out, to be fair. But I think if we go back to the Bird Hourihane, we've had this debate all season, I think, about how similar they are as players. But I think at this moment in time, it's probably what we need, especially if we're looking to play this 4-2-3-1. It's probably the best suited formation for both of them to be in the side. And then obviously with Forner in there, you've got the energy, the legs to sort of do the sweeping up like he did against Cambridge yesterday. That would probably be my three. It's a shame that Embleton's injured because I thought he might have really grown into that midfield three and offer us something different. For one, he might have actually put a better corner in than Sibley or anybody that attempted yesterday, because I don't think we beat the first man at all in any of them. Like Adam said, it was shocking. Yeah, so I think probably slot them back in as soon as possible, really, as soon as they're fit and raring to go.
Yeah, I think Embleton probably would have put in a better ball with a torn quad yesterday, to be quite honest. Weak foot, strong foot, whatever that may be. I mean, that leads me quite nicely in, and I had the tweet loaded up from Jake, who tweeted out earlier with regards to the injury so far this season, but I've had to close it in an attempt to keep my Wi-Fi running and not blipping out on you guys. But the injury list, it gets worse. Obviously, Embleton going back to Sunderland with a torn quad. We also learnt that Elder has a hernia. So the list is long. And I mean, it's getting better, of course, because we've got Bird, we've got Hourihane coming back. It doesn't sound like Tomo's too far away, but just feels a bit of a mix of bad luck, bad fortune, and potentially a bit of overwork. What do you think, Adam?
I think maybe the players have been overworked. Obviously, we know how tough the pre-season was for him in terms of getting fit and ready to play Paul Warne's style to the max. But I think we have just been unlucky. I mean, how many other teams? I think I said it in pre-season or at the start of the season. You'll go through spells where you'll have multiple players injured at once, and it will be how you cope with those spells in terms of squad rotation. I think we're doing that a little bit, but I think when it comes to the game on Tuesday night against Blackpool, I think we'll see a couple more rotations in terms of trying to prevent those injuries, because I think a couple of players now are starting to tire. Some of the players that have played almost every match so far this season, or they probably have played every match. I think we've just been unlucky with the injuries. some of the injuries that we've got are just unlucky in the games that we've played. There've been some really physical battles against teams at the top end of this division. And you're gonna have little injuries through that. But to have so many key players out so early on the season is disappointing. But hopefully they come back to full fitness and we can have a bit of a late push. Not a late push, but we've not had one at the start. So hopefully it can come during the middle.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully those injuries are out of the way and we can, I guess, go into the next period before Christmas and after Christmas and touch wood, keep everyone fit, raring to go. One of those that we talk about every week that needs a rest is Mendez-Laing, Callum. I mean, he's strapped up. He honestly looks like he's forced out there at times. He does look knackered. Played 90 minutes yesterday, which I really, really don't understand. It leads me on to talk about the subs. I think personally Warne got them wrong yesterday. I know, speaking off air, that Adam thinks that as well. Not to put words in your mouth, Adam, with regards to taking Barkhuizen off before Mendez-Laing. But I also think there's two game changers on that bench for me, Max Bird and Kane Wilson. And they both come on with 5 minutes to go. I mean, yes, there should have probably been a bit more added time at the end because that was ridiculous when that board went up. But it feels like sometimes Warne gets the subs bang on, and then the next week it's the opposite. He obviously, I don't know how it works. I mean, what was your thoughts on the subs yesterday, and what would you have done if you were Paul Warne?
Exactly what he did, just 10 minutes, 15 minutes earlier. In all honesty, Barkhuizen maybe, but like I said, who you bring off? Do you bring off Mendez-Laing or Barkhuizen? That's probably the only thing for Wilson. But in terms of who he brought on, I'm happy with those, and they're game changers and are sat on your bench. Saving grace a little bit that they were sat there for 2-3 minutes before they were due to come on because of the ball not going out or whatever, but still it should have been at least 10-15 minutes sooner because the midfield needed a bit of energy, which Max Bird can provide, and Kane Wilson, we know what he can do when he comes against a towering defence, especially when you said the defence of Cambridge against Kane Wilson, who's fresh, is frightening. And that's where, as you say, a couple of weeks ago we were singing his praises in terms of getting the subs bang on and making an impact. And they make an impact when they come on and have time to do so. But yesterday, what are Kane Wilson and Max Bird going to do in 5 minutes? Nothing. I mean, us four could have done exactly the same thing as those guys, and we're no professional footballers by any means.
Well.
So what we've worked out from this is if we were on the end of that Mendez-Laing cross, we would have won the game and we could probably perform as well as Max Bird for 5 minutes. I quite like your optimism there, Callum, to be quite honest.
We'd be top of the league if all four of us were playing, mate. We wouldn't be talking like this. We'd be talking in positivity. Sign us up.
I might text you next time I play football just for that confidence builder.
I'm injured at the moment, so it's fine.
Vic, I just wanted to come to you. Obviously, on the 31st minute, we saw the round of applause for Josh Vickers and a tribute to Laura Vickers. It was one of those times. I mean, I've only had a few at Pride Park where almost emotion comes over me. I felt cold for a minute and I felt it was spine tingling. It really was. Just sum that up, because I know that you were obviously there yesterday, and kind of sum up the emotion for people that weren't there.
I mean, for me personally, it was a beautiful thing to see. I had to hold the tears back because it was just, like you said, an emotional time. I think Josh Vickers really would have appreciated it as well, just because I think going through such a difficult time and such a difficult period for him, knowing that he's got 27,000 fans behind him as well as everybody else, giving him all that support and love that he needs at this time. I think that's quite really, truly special. And a shout out to the Cambridge fans and players too. They also joined in. So thank you for that, Cambridge United. That was really nice of you guys to join in as well. But yeah, like you said, it was one of those experiences where you don't often feel it, but when you're there in the moment, in the flesh, it's special. And I'm glad that we managed to give as good a tribute as we could have to him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And yeah, when that image came up on the scoreboard, it was, like you say, you're trying to kind of hide emotions, but then feel like you should actually show emotion. It was quite a strange feeling, but a great support. And like you said there, thanks to Cambridge fans for joining in. They also sang There's Only One Josh Vickers, I think, as well. And then we got back to the football and they were singing about Nottingham Forest. So, there you go. So we can't credit that, but we'll credit the chant for Josh Vickers. Well, we've got 2 games to preview. We're going up to Blackpool. I'm not going. I went up there previously and that was a good away day, but I'm not sure Tuesday night's going to be the one for me. If there's 2 people from our little cohort that I think would be going, would be Adam and Vic. Are you going, you two?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Of course they are. Die hard. Well, it was amazing last time we went there and jumping around if we were going down and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'd take another win there and come back and hopefully go to Cheltenham and get another result. But we know it's not that easy. Adam, coming to you first, what do you think of the next 2, Blackpool away and Cheltenham away? It's a chance, I guess, to get some points on the board. I definitely think that in regards to the Cheltenham game. How do you think the Blackpool game will go?
I want to say there's no expectation on it after Cambridge, in my opinion. I think a lot of fans are a little bit disappointed with the point against Cambridge, and we've kind of forgotten that we've got Blackpool who are just ahead of us in the league, if I'm correct, and coming off the back of a very good victory. They seem to be in a bit of decent form too, 1 loss in 5. And so difficult game, definitely take point away at Blackpool, and I also wouldn't mind maybe some squad rotation. So I'll take a point if I had to give you a score. I'll go with a 1-1. Be more than happy with that. Snap your hand off of that, because I think when we look back, Blackpool are going to be in and around there come the end of the season. I think they're a bit of an underrated side for me.
Awesome. We'll go and do the Blackpool predictions first, and then I'll come back to you and do the Cheltenham one. So Vic, Blackpool away, what do you think? What's your score prediction?
I mean, I went to that Blackpool game in the Cup and they played us off for the best part of 90 minutes. So I am a bit concerned. However, we seem to be chalk and cheese, so like away from home, we tend to be pretty good. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, just because I think we won't perform bad, and I think we'll nick a draw there. A goal scorer, let's get Washington on the scoreline. He needs a goal. I think we need to boost his confidence up as well. Are you doing Cheltenham afterwards, or do you want me to do that as well? Or?
No, we'll get Callum's. Actually, no, Callum doesn't deserve a score prediction because he's not going. So
neither are you.
Yeah, true. I'll gladly not give one because I'm always wrong anyway. No, Cal, what's your thoughts?
My head says defeat, unfortunately, and my heart says I'll go 3-0 win with my heart, but my head says I think we'll lose 1-0. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, guys, to you guys who are going up, but the way they played against us and then have got the positive result, I think it could be a very tough away fixture.
It's definitely going to be a tough one. I'm going to agree with Vic and go 1-1. Adam, did you? Yeah, you went 1-1 as well, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely take a point.
There you go. Yeah, we'll take a point there. Cheltenham away, obviously, that's going to be an absolute banana skin. Haven't scored a goal, rock bottom of the league. I mean, it should be a convincing away performance, but we know it's Derby County. It's not going to be that way. Is Curtis playing? I don't know if he's playing for them at the back. Is he starting every week? What's kind of going on?
No idea.
I'm not too sure. I'm sure he's definitely played.
I think he's been on the bench the last few games.
That's not surprising, to be honest, is it? I think after we saw him in the back end of last season, he's definitely, his legs have definitely seen better days. Adam, coming to you with that one, then, what's your thoughts on that one?
Must win, anything but, and then God knows what the podcast will be like the Sunday after if we don't win there. That's fine. I'll go with a 2-0 victory. Like Vic said, away from home, we seem to be pretty good. I obviously I remember Cheltenham last season had a brilliant spell where we obviously scored 3 goals, and I reckon we'll win 2-0, be pretty solid, be a bit scrappy, but we'll get the job done. It'll be like pretty much all our away games this year, bar Peterborough, like I keep mentioning, pretty scrappy, but we get the goals. So hopefully I'm correct. Hopefully we win there.
Let's hope so. Vic, what do you think?
Well, anything less than a win, and I think that Derby Twitter will be in a meltdown, and Paul Warne will be on the verge of the sack, I think. Like Adam says, it's a must-win. I'm going to go for 3-0. We need to make it convincing. Knowing our luck, they'll probably score, and that'll be their first and only goal of the season. For a 3-0, though, I'm going to go for Nelson. Finally get a set-piece header. We'll have Wagon with 2. Getting back on the score sheet as well. But we've got to win. It's as simple as that.
We definitely do. We definitely do. Because if we can't beat teams, no disrespect to Cambridge, but if we can't beat teams like Cambridge, we're going to have to pick up other results. And if that's on the road at teams like Cheltenham, where, actually I don't think with Cheltenham teams will slip up there, but teams down the bottom will take points off of the top teams. Callum, what's your thoughts?
But every time all of us go with optimism, it always comes to bite us. So I'll be the negative one, and I'll say we'll lose 2-0.
Callum, what is wrong with you tonight? We're going to lose both games. What's going on?
I'm just being the way it's going. I'm just being realistic. I'm just saying.
There's going to be some hate for you on.
Here's the goal scorer. It's going to be a Curtis Davis double.
Every time I go, we're going to win 4-0, 3-0. And then it ends up being a draw, and I'm no. So well, I'll be the negative one, and hopefully I'll get proven wrong. I'm God hoping that I'm going to get proven wrong.
Well, I hope so too. In all honesty, Callum. I think my predictions for both. I think it's going to be obviously the 1-1 for Blackpool away, and I think we might just nick a 2-1 away at Cheltenham. Jake said 0-0 for both games. Jake, you can do.
I'm so
what
sorry,
Callum's
Adam and Vic,
do.
to go into those games. They're 0-0. They're both 0-0.
Awesome. Well, that's been the review of the Cambridge game and previewing the next 2. Apologies if I've been jumpy on this, because every so often your faces disappear and I get the swirling whirl of doom. So apologies if I've not made sense at some points, but I think my Wi-Fi's just about pulled through. Might need you to upload the episode, Callum. Hint, hint, wink, wink, if you wouldn't mind. But
there we go.
But yeah, thanks so much for listening. If you've got this far, thanks so much. You may see the tweets and other forms of telling you that we are finalists in the Football Content Awards. If you could vote for us, that would be perfect. You'll find out all that information on our socials, and your votes would mean the absolute world. Also, we have a preview coming out probably in the next 20 minutes or something, Callum. Is that right?
9 o'clock. Comes out at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. So it's a double header tonight on Rams Talk. So you've got the preview with someone. I know his name. I should tell you. It's with Amos Wynn, supposedly. So hopefully they don't win. Amos Wynn. That's a pretty solid name, that is.
It is, yeah.
Pretty solid name. It should be called Amos Lose. Well, hopefully it's Amos Lose. That's about as far as my jokes go, to be honest. But yeah, you'll find that coming out at 9 p.m. So listen to that. Callum's done that with Blackpool. But that just leaves me to say thanks to you guys, and it's going to be goodbye from me, and it's going to be goodbye from them.